What truly happens in the moments after our final farewell? For billions, it is life's ultimate mystery. While science describes the body's return to the earth, faith offers a vision of a journey just beginning. According to Islamic tradition, the first night in the grave is not an end, but a profound and immediate transition into a new state of existence known as the Barzakh. It is a solitary encounter, a moment of truth where the physical world fades and the spiritual realm becomes reality. Here, the soul is not alone for long. Two celestial beings are said to arrive not with menace, but with a purpose, to ask three fundamental questions that determine the soul's comfort until the day of judgment. This is the story of that first night, an exploration of the spiritual passage that awaits, the questions that will be posed, and the eternal consequences that follow. It is a journey from the known to the vastly unknown. The journey begins not with an end, but with a profound and irreversible transition. At the moment the final breath is drawn, the intricate bond between soul and body is gently undone. Islamic tradition describes this separation for the righteous as a serene event, the soul exiting its physical vessel as smoothly as a single drop of water gliding from a pitcher. This newly freed spiritual essence is immediately met by celestial escorts, angels of mercy, whose forms are said to be radiant and whose very presence imparts a deep sense of tranquility and peace. They lovingly wrap the soul in perfumed shrouds brought from the gardens of paradise, and its majestic ascent to the heavens commences. As this pure spirit travels through the celestial spheres, it is greeted warmly at each gate, its beautiful fragrance announcing the arrival of a faithful servant of God. Conversely, for a soul that lived a life of heedlessness and transgression, the experience is starkly different. Its extraction from the body is described as an arduous and difficult process. The angels who receive it are not figures of mercy, but stern emissaries of justice. The soul's attempted ascent is met with closed gates and rejection, a powerful foretelling of the difficult trials that lie ahead. This initial journey is the first true indicator of one's eternal destiny, a direct and immediate reflection of the deeds, beliefs, and intentions that defined a life lived on earth. Back on earth, a final solemn ritual of farewell unfolds. The physical body, now a silent and still vessel, is carefully washed, shrouded in simple white cloth, and carried with dignity by loved ones to its final resting place. The act of lowering it into the earth is a moment of profound humility, a tangible return to the very element from which humanity was first fashioned. For the individual's consciousness, however, a new state of perception awakens. The familiar sounds of the world above become distant, muffled echoes. The final, heartfelt prayers of the congregation, the soft thud of soil being methodically placed upon the wooden planks, and then, most poignantly, the fading sound of footsteps as the last mourners depart. An encompassing silence descends, a solitude more absolute than any experienced in life. This is the solitary abode, the qabr. Islamic teachings emphasize that at this very moment, the soul perceives its new surroundings with a unique awareness. It is no longer a part of the bustling, chaotic world of the living, but is now an inhabitant of a new intermediary realm. It is in this profound isolation, this first moment of complete separation from all that was familiar, that the individual is left utterly alone to await the next and most crucial phase of their journey. With the world of the living now fully behind, the soul officially crosses a veil into a new dimension of existence known as the Barzakh. This evocative Arabic term translates to barrier or isthmus, a fitting description for this intermediary realm that stands between the physical world and the ultimate afterlife. It is not a physical place in the earthly sense, but a state of being, a unique phase of consciousness. Within the Barzakh, a profound event occurs. The soul is reunited with its earthly body. This is not a physical revival as we understand it, but a unique spiritual reconnection that enables perception, feeling, and a heightened awareness of its new reality. Here, time itself loses its linear familiar structure. A day could feel like a fleeting moment, or a single moment could stretch into what feels like a prolonged age, depending entirely on the spiritual state of the individual. For the pious believer, the Barzakh is described as a serene and peaceful garden, a window offering a glimpse into the paradise that awaits them, providing immense comfort and blissful anticipation. For the transgressor, it is a grim precursor to their sentence, a confinement filled with deep apprehension and a preview of the consequences they sought to deny. This realm is the great waiting room of eternity, where the soul reflects on its past life with perfect clarity, awaiting the momentous events about to unfold. The profound solitude of the grave is abruptly and decisively broken. From the very fabric of this new reality, two formidable figures emerge, their presence instantly altering the nature of the chamber. These are the celestial visitors, the angels known in Islamic tradition as Munkar and Nakir. Their appearance is described in Scripture as awe-inspiring and immensely commanding, specifically intended to shake the soul from its state of reflection and demand its complete and undivided attention. They are not depicted as the gentle, light-filled angels of mercy who may have escorted the soul, but rather as stern and powerful emissaries of divine justice, their presence radiating an unyielding authority. Their arrival signifies a moment of supreme reckoning. According to tradition, they command the deceased individual to sit upright within their grave, an act accomplished not by physical muscle, but by the will of the Almighty, reinforcing that the laws of the physical world no longer hold sway. The atmosphere, once still and silent, now crackles with an intense, palpable energy. Their purpose is singular and direct, to conduct an interrogation, a spiritual examination that will determine the soul's immediate fate within the Barzakh. The questioning is imminent. The interrogation by Munkar and Nakir is not a complex theological debate, but a direct test of core conviction, revolving around three fundamental and universal questions. The first, delivered with resounding authority, is, Man Rabbuka, who is your Lord? This question probes the very foundation of one's being, targeting the ultimate object of their worship, devotion, and reliance throughout their life. The second question follows swiftly. Ma dinuka? What is your religion? This examines the path and the system of beliefs the person consciously chose to live by, the moral compass that guided their actions. Finally, the angels present the third and conclusive question, often referring to the spiritual image of the Prophet Muhammad. Ma hadha al-rajul alladhi bu'itha fikum? Who is this man who was sent among you? This tests the recognition of and adherence to the divine guidance brought to humanity. For the true believer whose heart was firm in faith, the answers flow effortlessly from their soul. My Lord is Allah. My religion is Islam. This man is the messenger of Allah. These are not memorized responses, but the very essence of their being, a joyous confirmation of a life lived in submission and truth. For the one who was heedless, a dreadful confusion sets in. They stammer, unable to answer, replying only with, "Alas, I do not know." In this critical moment, all worldly knowledge becomes useless. The interrogation concludes, but the true revelation is only just beginning. For the soul that held fast to its faith and lived a life of integrity, a profound reward is unveiled. Islamic tradition speaks of a window being opened within the confines of the grave, a portal that does not lead back to the world of the living, but forward to the promised destination. Through this opening drifts the fragrant air of Jannah, or paradise. It carries with it an ethereal breeze, a scent of musk and camphor unlike anything known on earth, bringing a deep sense of tranquility and overwhelming joy. The chamber is filled with a gentle, celestial light, and the soul is told, "This is your place until the day you are raised." It is the ultimate reassurance, a preview of eternal bliss that transforms the solitary chamber into a vestibule of heaven itself. Conversely, for the one who turned away from truth and lived a life of transgression, another window is opened. From this portal seeps the scorching wind of Jahannam, the hellfire. It brings a putrid, unbearable stench and a wave of intense heat that fills the space with profound apprehension. The soul is shown its final fiery abode, a terrifying glimpse that instills a sense of foreboding for the long wait ahead. This initial glimpse, whether of bliss or torment, defines the entire experience of the Barzakh, the intermediary period between this life and the next. It is the first true consequence, a direct result of the life one has chosen to lead. Once the soul's initial fate is glimpsed, the very earth that houses it responds in kind. The grave is not merely a static pit in the ground. It is a dynamic, reactive space that mirrors the spiritual state of its occupant. For the righteous believer, a remarkable transformation occurs. The narrow chamber, which seemed so final and confining from the world above, begins to expand. It widens and stretches as far as the eye can see, becoming a vast and luminous garden. The soil becomes soft and fragrant, like the finest musk. The earth, which is often seen as a symbol of finality, instead offers a gentle and loving welcome, an embrace of profound comfort that cradles the soul in peace. It is described as being like one of the gardens of paradise, a place of rest and serenity. However, for the soul that lived in rebellion and injustice, the reaction of the earth is starkly different. Instead of expanding, the grave constricts. The walls of earth press in from all sides with an immense force, a symbolic rejection by the very ground that was meant to be a resting place. This event is described in traditions with a powerful intensity, a physical manifestation of the spiritual constriction the soul feels. It is not a place of rest, but a chamber of immense pressure and unease, a prelude to a greater reckoning. The embrace of the earth is either a mother's gentle hug for her child or a powerful grip of accountability, a direct and tangible consequence of one's earthly journey. This physical experience sets the stage for the long wait ahead. In the solitude of the grave, the soul is not left entirely alone. The abstract concepts of good and bad deeds, meticulously recorded throughout a person's life, now take on a tangible form. They manifest as a companion who will remain with the soul throughout its time in the Barzakh. For the person of faith and good works, this companion appears in the most beautiful form imaginable. It is a figure with a radiant face, dressed in elegant, perfumed garments, embodying all the prayer, fasting, charity, and kindness the person performed. This companion speaks with a comforting voice, saying, "I am your good deeds." It becomes a source of solace and joy, alleviating any sense of loneliness and reminding the soul of the rewards to come. Their presence transforms the grave from a place of isolation into a chamber of pleasant company and hopeful anticipation. On the other hand, the transgressor is met with a very different entity. Their evil deeds, the lies, the injustice, the neglect of duties, coalesce into a figure of terrifying appearance. This companion is described as having a dreadful face, wearing ragged clothes, and emitting a foul, unbearable odor. When the terrified soul asks who it is, the figure replies, "I am your evil deeds." This manifestation becomes a source of constant distress and anxiety, a perpetual, living reminder of a life wasted and the consequences that await. This personification of one's own actions serves as a powerful testament. In the grave, one's only true companion is the legacy of the life they chose to live. The departure from the physical world does not sever all ties. The soul in the grave, while in a different realm of existence, can still benefit from the actions of the living. This is a profound concept in Islamic eschatology, emphasizing a continued spiritual community. The most significant of these connections are the supplications, or dua, made by loved ones. These prayers for forgiveness and mercy are said to reach the deceased as precious gifts. Angels are described as presenting these prayers in the form of trays of light, informing the soul that this is a gift from their family or friends in the world above. This brings immense joy and can elevate the soul's status, easing its condition. Beyond personal prayers, certain deeds create a legacy that continues to benefit the soul long after it has departed. This is known as Sadaqah Jariyah, or ongoing charity. Examples include building a well, planting a tree, or contributing to a place of learning. As long as people benefit from these acts, a portion of the reward is continuously sent to the originator's spiritual account. Likewise, beneficial knowledge that a person taught or wrote continues to earn them rewards. These echoes from the world of the living act as a lifeline, a stream of grace that flows into the Barzakh. They demonstrate that one's impact does not end with their final breath, and that the bonds of love and community can indeed transcend the barrier between the worlds, offering comfort and elevation in the long wait. With the initial questioning complete, the glimpse of eternity revealed, and the nature of the chamber established, the soul enters a state of waiting. This period, known as the Barzakh, is the great interval between the first night and the final day of resurrection. The perception of this time is entirely subjective, dictated by the soul's spiritual condition. For the righteous, who are in a state of bliss with a window to paradise and the company of their good deeds, this long expanse of time passes with incredible speed. It is described as being like a peaceful slumber, as brief as the time between two prayers or even the blink of an eye. They are in a state of serene anticipation, eagerly awaiting the final promise of their Lord. For them, the call to rise for judgment is a welcome announcement. For the unrighteous, however, this wait is an entirely different experience, confined in a constricting chamber, accompanied by the manifestation of their misdeeds, and with a view of their dreadful destination, time stretches into an agonizingly long ordeal, Every moment is filled with apprehension and regret, a prolonged state of anxiety as they await the inevitable and final reckoning. This period of waiting will only conclude with a cataclysmic, cosmic event, the blowing of the trumpet by the angel Israfil. This powerful blast will signal the end of the Barzakh, the annihilation of all creation, and the subsequent resurrection of all souls for the final judgment. It is toward this ultimate event that all of existence in the grave is oriented.